When I look back at the preliminary task I first did at the beginning of the year, I've learned so much more. The progression that I've made, the techniques that I've learned, like, it's an immense step up from what I was doing in the first place. In the first place, I was doing supposedly found footage, and it was shot handheld through a handheld camera, and it was all in one shot and it was in one motion. At the time, it sounded like a good idea, and it wasn't a bad idea, and it was ambitious and it was a good effort, but it wasn't something that I could really pull off with the equipment that we were using, the time that we were using, and it was something that, without really having a lot of time to do, you could pull off with the proper effect. So straight away I was getting off on the wrong foot, really, and it took me a while to realise this, as it was something I really wanted to do, and it was an ambitious part, and it was something I thought, if this could work, if this works, if this comes off, it'll be really good, and everyone will really like it, and it will look good, it will look original, and it was a good idea, and it will look great. But you have to learn from the mistakes, obviously, that you make, and then progress on to the later products that you made. And this was the first main step that I made to really progress, which was to give up on the idea that the handheld would work, and it was to create a film in a more conventional style. And as soon as I started to do this, I began to see the effects and the positive feedback of the work that I was doing. It was easy to see that the work that I was doing was far better, the techniques that I was using were far better, and the quality of the film was much higher. So I've just these two things, when I look back at the preliminary task that I did, the progression that I've made has been phenomenal. When it comes down to the things like the sound and the inclusion of the non-diegetic sound and the diegetic sound, this is also another big improvement. Because it was shot on a handheld camera in my preliminary tasks, you couldn't really have non-diegetic sounding because it took a while. It's supposed to be real found footage. Now, found footage doesn't have a dramatic soundtrack over the top of it. You don't walk about in your real life with violins playing over the top of you when something suspenseful is happening, or when you're going into a job interview, there's suspense music is playing, or it's just not realistic. So by doing a found footage film, I took all this possible suspense and this atmosphere away from the actual film. Now, it wasn't until when I realised that when I started doing a film that wasn't through a handheld, it was actually done in a conventional style, how effective the use of non-diegetic sound was. If the non-diegetic sound wasn't in the film, then the film that I made would be nowhere near as powerful or as good as the one I now created. The atmosphere, the tension wouldn't be anywhere near as high. You can't create the same effect with this film that's completely silent and with a camera that's shaking all over the place. And also with the fact that I've used proper characters this time, you actually see the characters. It allows the audience to properly connect with the character. Like the similarity between my preliminary task and this one is the fact that there's not much text really. There's not really much dialogue, but the fact that you can see the character and you know stuff that the character doesn't know allows you to create an attachment. You don't really want this character to get hurt, even though it's looking more and more likely that something bad could happen to him, but you don't want this to happen. Whereas with the other one, you're just waiting for things to happen. You don't want these things to happen. You have no real concern about the cameraman at that point in time. He's hardly talking, so you just wait to see what's happened because it looks like it's affecting you. So basically, you're only worrying about yourself. But with the fact that in the conventional style of shooting it, you're concerned about the actual characters involved. So when I look back at the preliminary task, I realised that I've learnt so much. The fact that the use of non-diegetic sound, diegetic sound, the use of actual stories, the conventional techniques, the real shots like using shot, reverse shot, and match on action, the smoothness that it can give and the flow to the film that it can give is so good compared to the way I was doing it is incredible. So I've learnt so much in the progression to the full product that I made, and hopefully this is something that you can see in the product that I made, which you can see on my Wix page. Thank you.